Voices of Fire. It's a new series coming to Netflix. Y'all, we are about to go to church. Ezekiel Williams is a pastor in Virginia who has a dream of building a multicultural and multi-generational choir. He wants to get all these voices together and uplift the world. He calls upon his staff and his nephew, Pharrell, to help build out this choir. This is such an uplifting show. I laughed a bunch and I even teared up some. This has the element of American Idol without all the exploitation of the terrible auditions that come at the beginning of the show. They're looking to create a 75-member choir, and so they get way more applicants and auditions than that. And so we're only shown a very small portion of the auditions, but whoa, some of them will knock your socks off. The stories that come from those auditioning too, oh my goodness. Some are sad, some are very inspiring. All of them though are going to touch your heart in one way or another. The stories that come from those that are auditioning are powerful too. Some are sad, others are inspiring. Each of them has a very touching story as to what motivated them to even try out for this choir. I love how Bishop Williams speaks. I mean, first off, just his voice is so smooth and buttery. Oh my gosh. I mean, I would listen to this guy read the telephone book or the dictionary. I want to hear audiobooks narrated by him. But then his presence. I mean, he never comes off like he is performing for the camera. Everything that we see feels very genuine and very just down to earth. He's caring, he's compassionate, and he's even saddened because he knows that he has this huge chunk of people auditioning and he has to narrow it down to this small few, or a relative small few. I mean, 75 is still a big number, but I think over 1,000 people auditioned and applied to get into this. So yes, there are going to be a lot of people that he has to turn away. And you see how it breaks his heart. He doesn't want to have to do that. And that really comes across. And that's why I say that he's genuine, because he feels that way, that he doesn't feel at all like he's putting on airs. Now, once the choir is formed, we get to see the rehearsals and we get to see all of these people pop up and hear their strengths and see some of them struggle. And just as the choir itself begins to mold and to shape into the thing that it needs to be. And even as we're doing that, as we're seeing more and more people just step up to maybe try out for a solo or to learn their different parts, even more stories come from this. Now, I get that gospel music may not be everybody's thing, but the pureness of the voices and the message that these people bring is just, it will stir your soul. Now, I think as I'm watching this, if I had a complaint, it's that I wanted more music. Each of the episodes is right around 30 minutes, and they have to cut out a lot to get to that's a lot of trimming that they have to do. And I wanted to hear the choir sing more. Bump up each episode to an hour and let me hear them practicing. Let me hear them performing. Let me hear all of just as they work through songs and as they build it and build it. Because yes, you have this song, but for it to be this massive choir and this performance that they're building and for it to move people's hearts, they need to have that oomph with it also. And so it's not just a straight set of songs, that they add and incorporate different elements within the songs. And I wanted to hear those in their entirety. And good grief, the voices in this, they are wonderful. I mean, individually, they are very powerful and they are awesome and they bring their own uniqueness to it. But when they are combined, awesome in the very truest sense of the word. Now, at the end, what this is building to is they are building towards a concert. And Bishop Williams also wants them to be able to tour the world, to bring this message of hope and peace just to everybody in all different countries. But first, they've just got to pull off one concert first to get it out there, do it, and see how everybody reacts, see how the choir does, and if it does indeed move people. So when we get to the performance, I wanted to see it from start to finish. I wanted to see all of the songs. I wanted to see them in their entirety. And unfortunately, because of the time constraints, they cut them up. And so we do get portions of the songs, and we get to see some of that energy and some of that power, but I don't think it's as impactful as it could have been had they really just shown us the everything. Make a couple more episodes, make each episode an hour long. I'm totally down because I was glued to my seat. And that was also because the show is so uplifting. I mean, it's awesome to see another show that brings out the best in people. And that, I think, is really what we need right now. And you combine that with all of their stories, and they are so inspiring. and just encouraging. And even though you see these people going through sadness or working through their sadness or working through difficulties, the positive change that comes not only for them, but for everybody that gets to hear that message too, it's spectacular. I mean, just a couple of the stories, just as brief examples, there's one person who struggles with massive social anxiety. So for them to even be in a choir out in public is a huge thing. There's one person that has a physical disability that for the music industry, it's daunting. And for them to be able to overcome that, it's huge. And you have other people who are just overcoming massive adversities. And so it's not just their voices that need to be heard, their message needs to be heard as well. At 6 episodes, this is a very quick binge, and even if you're not into gospel music or singing competitions, and I'm not really sure I would classify this as a competition because it's not, but this is very well worth your time. I loved watching the staff of the church also who are helping to build this choir and helping to guide, mentor, and lead. I mean, it's just so encouraging to watch them take part too, because you get to see genuine care and concern also with them. I mean, they're guiding all of these individual voices to come together as one. And that's a daunting task, and I love to watch them just try and accomplish that. Voices of Fire comes out on November 20th in the United States. You need to do yourself a favor. Add this to your watch list right now, and then on the 20th, start binging it. You won't regret it. There's no sex, nudity, or violence. There may be a tiny bit of profanity. I give Voices of Fire 4.5 out of 5 couches. What's your go-to genre of music? I'd love to know in the comments below. I'm not sure I could choose one. I mean, good grief. If you looked at my Spotify playlist, it's very eccentric and it's all over the place. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.